My name is Michael Griffin, and I'm here to present this special Coldwell Banker Commercial only presentation of ClientLook. So let's get rolling. All right, so the first question I want to answer for you is just what is ClientLook? And I'm going to kind of step back here for those of you who are familiar with us. Bear with me for a minute as I kind of give you some history. But I want to explain to you just what is ClientLook. So ClientLook is an industry-leading cloud-based all-in-one CRM solution. So what does all that mean? So let me start with CRM. So what is a CRM? CRM is a customer relationship management tool. It is an application that you use to manage contacts primarily. And it's designed to help you build relationships. ClientLook goes above and beyond in helping you do that with respect to tracking not only contacts, but properties and deals and your activities and emails, all of which you'll see in the demo here. But that's what a CRM does. Now, cloud-based, just for those of you who might not be overly familiar with that term, cloud-based differentiates ClientLook from a desktop application. So there are some programs, mostly legacy applications these days, that you install on your computer. You install it by downloading something, and the data, the information, the program, all exists on your computer. So if you lose your computer, you're out of business. You've lost not only the program, but you've lost all your content. So ClientLook exists in the cloud, meaning that you access it through a browser. You can get to ClientLook through any web-enabled device, any tablet, any phone, any browser, no matter where you are. So you can be at the office, you could be at home, you could be on vacation, you can be in your car. It's entirely mobile. And all of your data, your information resides with ClientLook in the cloud as well. So it's our responsibility to keep your information safe, to back it up every day. So it's a great burden that's been taken off of you because you don't have to maintain software anymore or be responsible for its safety. So ClientLook was founded in 2009. I actually got my start years ago, probably like many of you, as a commercial real estate broker, and I used an old product called ACT in my business. I designed an add-on for that called Aries for ACT. And I built that up over a number of years, and I sold it to CoStar and spent a number of years there. Then I left eventually to start ClientLook, and here we are. Now, one of the really big differentiating features of ClientLook is the fact that it's what we call a native commercial real estate app. And that means that ClientLook is designed from the ground up solely, entirely for commercial real estate professionals. It's a lot different than back in my ACT days, as I described, where I built an add-on for a generic contact management CRM product. There's lots of problems with that. So when I started ClientLook and went to the web, went online, I was committed to creating this entire experience from the ground up so that it could be perfect. It could do all the things that I always wanted to do without any of the compromises. So the fact that we are designed solely for commercial real estate, that we are commercial real estate people designing an app that is entirely and solely for our business is really one of the big differentiating features of ClientLook. ClientLook's used by all types of commercial real estate professionals, teams, individual users, entire enterprises, every specialty, every geography. Basically anything that you do, anything you want to track can be accommodated in ClientLook. And we've exploded over the last couple of years. This slide's a little dated. We're over 1,800 cities now, which is an exciting way for us to measure our kind of proliferation. And we're in 9 countries. So ClientLook is just about everywhere. So let me give you a couple of last points in defining why we think ClientLook is so special, why we think it's so different and unique. And then we'll jump into some of the product demonstration. So as I mentioned before, we're designed solely for commercial real estate. So as you're going to see in the product demo, every button, every link, every feature is designed for commercial real estate professionals. There's not, a core of the program, which, this was really designed for, anybody, for widget sales people. So just kind of ignore those features over there. That's what we had, back in the add-on days. You don't have that in ClientLook. It's built to be, a very focused tool. One of the one of the big premises that we adhere to here at ClientLook with everything that we create is this goal to make all of our features as training-free as possible. Having been commercial real estate brokers ourselves, we realize that the importance and the value of your time. We realize that nobody takes the time to learn an application. And in fact, in my opinion, if you have to take the time to learn and study something in the technology world, there's some failure in the design of that application. It's too complicated. You don't do that with your phone. You don't buy your new Android device, your new iPhone, and then have to go to a class and to learn how to use it. It needs to be intuitive. So that's our goal with ClientLook. So hopefully you appreciate that when you see some of the things that we're going to show you today, how simple and easy it all really is. So one of the other big kind of light bulbs that went off for us with ClientLook a few years ago, and this has to do with your time, is that for you to be successful, for anybody to be successful with any CRM, you need to invest time in making that happen. You need to log what you do. You need to log the outcome of your meetings. You need to record, the details of phone calls, put in people's requirements. You need to add new contacts. You need to transpose the business cards that you collect every day into your CRM. All of this takes time, and the payoff for doing all this stuff is tremendous. It will significantly accelerate your business, and it gives you a foundation to grow for years and years and years. The problem is that labor becomes very costly. As your time becomes more and more valuable, the cost of simply inputting a business card becomes exorbitant. And the problem is that most of that work is simple. The issue is that you don't have anybody to do it other than you. And I remember somebody telling me once that if you don't have an assistant, then you are one. So, and that might be true for other aspects of your business. We didn't want it to be true for ClientLook. So our solution is to provide you with a team of virtual assistants who can do all this data entry for you. And we hear every week about creative ways that our subscribers come up with to engage with these people. But it basically works this way. And I'm going to give you some examples as we work through. But imagine this. You have this team of ClientLook experts who's standing by during the business day to execute your requests. And your requests might be as simple as you go to a meeting and you're racing from one meeting to the next. And you have all these things in your head of stuff that you need to do and details of that meeting that you want to record. So I can call the virtual assistant voicemail line and I can say, hi, this is Michael Griffin, and I just had a meeting with Chuck Cutler. We discussed X, Y, and Z, and schedule a follow-up call for me in 2 days, and schedule for me to send that report to them in a week. And the virtual assistant will pick up this information and do it all for you. Access your account live and enter this data. Same thing is true with the business cards that you might pick up at a meeting. You can photograph them with your phone, email them to the virtual assistant, and they will do whatever you tell them to do with those cards, from as simple as just put them in and add this note and add a follow-up call. This is a big deal because any other solution you will use means that you are doing that stuff yourself, which is a significant cost. So the other big thing that you're going to see is some of our integrations here. We take integrations really seriously in the sense that, as you'll discover, ClientLook is one of those tools that you kind of launch it in the morning and you use it all day and you turn it off at night. So being that we become this hub of data, we feel a responsibility to help you connect that data with other applications, as I'm going to show you. One of the other really cool features that we're going to talk about too is ClientLook's client collaboration capability. So this is a fancy term for sort of a war room kind of functionality that you may be more familiar with. But basically, and you'll see this in the demo, you will use ClientLook to win business based on the capabilities that you can profess to have with the reporting that you will provide to your clients. And it's super, super easy. Okay, so here are the things that we're going to talk about: contacts, properties, listings, deals, etc. And one thing I didn't tell you was that this session is being recorded. So don't feel like you have to take a bunch of notes, or if you miss something, you're going to miss out. We will distribute the recording to everybody after the fact. All right, so let's jump into context. So this is the context module in ClientLook. This is the place where you spend the most time. These are the people that make up your business. They are the prospects that you have, the clients that you have. They could be a combination of tenants and owners and investors and vendors and personal contacts and whoever. They all live here. So the big question is, how do these people get here? The simple way is that you import them from some source that you already have. It could be as simple as Outlook. You have a spreadsheet that you can create by exporting out of Outlook. You have some other a contact management system or CRM that you're using and moving from. But either way, you can send that data to ClientLook, support@clientlook.com, and we will import that information for you. You can do your own imports. There's an import little engine in here that steps you through doing it. But it's just as easy to send it to us so that you're taking your time to make that happen. So that's one way, importing. So you can also, in the upper right corner there, you see the big add a new contact button. You can simply add a contact yourself. Click that button, key in all the data, simple, easy, and you'll do that regularly. The third way though is virtual assistant. So like I mentioned, you're in the field, you collect the business card, or you have this stack of business cards that's been sitting on your desk for a month. Photograph those, email them to the virtual assistant, and they become a part of your system. So it's all simple, all easy. One way or another, ClientLook makes it easiest to get your contact data in. All right, so before we jump ahead, let me show you one other thing. In the bottom right corner of the screen, you see that little bubble with almost like a little smiley face. If you tap that, this brings up an interface that allows you to connect directly with our support team and our virtual assistant team. They both monitor the input here. This is your way, whenever you have a question with anything in ClientLook, this exists both here and in our mobile app, that you pose a question. Hey, how do I import contacts? And they will send you back a response. You can even attach a file and say, hey, import this file for me through here. And it's threaded, meaning that every conversation you've ever had with our support team is in this big long list. So if you say, they answered this question for me last month, and I scroll up and there it is. But this is the simplest and easiest, the most effective way that we have found to support your questions in a contextual way that is, as fast as possible. So you'll see this little button throughout. Now you know what that is. All right, so let's jump into a context record here and talk a little bit more about a person. So now you've got a prospect up. Now, if you look in the upper left corner, you'll see basic information like a photograph, name, title, the company, and you see that red cloud company name there in the upper left. Anything that looks like a hyperlink means that if you click it, you're going to jump to that record. Everything in ClientLook is intertwined so that you can very quickly jump from a person to a company to a property to a deal, and it's all there to be accessed really, really quickly. But in the left side of the screen, you'll see phone number information, addresses, so you'll store all of that sort of thing there. You'll see description, which is, how did you meet somebody, or anything that you want to always appear in one place. And if I scroll down a little more, you see custom fields. So remember, I said ClientLook was suitable for any specialty. You can create custom fields to track anything that you want. So those will show up here. If we bounce over to the right a little bit, you see the Updates tab. So the Updates tab is a chronological summary of everything you've done with this person, you or your team members, if you're sharing an account with other people. So the key here is that when you engage with this person in some way, you have a conversation, you simply want to enter what you did. So I spoke to Jessica. We discussed their need to buy a building next year, and I scheduled a follow-up call for 6 months. That all goes here. So that's one way that you will enter information into this tab, and that is far and away one of the most beneficial things that you could do in ClientLook is that simple thing. Talk to somebody, log what you do. Meet with them, log what you do. So of course you can do that yourself. The other way that information gets into the Updates tab, though, is again by the virtual assistant. So, and I keep telling you this because it's so valuable and it's so important for you to be able to leverage this team to keep you on track and keep you focused on deal making. So now again, I go meet with Jessica. We meet in her office, and I'm now racing again to my next meeting. Same example as before. I call in to the virtual assistant team, and I dictate to a voicemail service everything that I want to add to this record, and I do it virtually. The virtual assistant team picks it up, they enter it for me, then they send me an email to say, Michael, that has been done. So that's the second way data gets into here. But here's another way that's really unique to ClientLook that you'll find that you use all the time. So ClientLook will connect all of the emails that you send back to the contacts that they relate to in your ClientLook account. So if you look in the middle of the screen there, you'll see that big email graphic, and it says BCC or forward any contact emails to, and then this long email address. That is your personalized email address for ClientLook. So, and if you click the little email me a V card there, it adds it into your Outlook or your Gmail or your phone or whatever. So all you have to do in the future is BCC ClientLook. But here's how it works. So I send an email to Jessica, and it has a subject, has 5 recipients, and I attach a couple of files. I have a message. If I want that email to be connected to all of the recipients in the email back in ClientLook, I simply BCC ClientLook, and I literally go to the BCC field in my email and I type ClientLook, and it picks up that email address and it sends it, and out it goes. So then I get a single email in ClientLook that's stitched up and linked to 5 different people. This will transform the way that you organize emails, because now every time you pull up Jessica's record, you will see not only the conversations and the outcome of the meetings and the things that you've logged, but you'll see every email in one contextual format. And it works for the emails that you receive too. So if she sends you an email, you can simply forward that to your email address, and it all gets tied in here. Once you get that rolling, it will change the way you work. Okay, this is the activities tab. So this is how you kind of have the next thing scheduled. And one of the big things that we teach over and over is that try to have the next thing scheduled for every contact in your account, so that any contact you pull up has something showing in the activities tab. That simply means that you're going to show up on a Monday morning, fire up ClientLook, and it's going to tell you, here are the 10 people that you need to call today, the 20 people, whatever. And some of those may have been scheduled a year ago. But the point is that you don't want to be reactively searching for people you need to contact. You want to touch them, schedule the next thing, and move on to the next person. Okay, property. So now let's talk about the value of property tracking and how you can do that so easily in ClientLook. So ClientLook really aspires to help you do a couple of main things. One is create and build relationships with people. That's the foundation of CRM. But secondly, to also help you create relationships and build relationships with properties. And I know properties are sort of this intangible thing, but your ability to become an expert with some core list of properties is how you make money. It's how you differentiate your level of knowledge and understanding and deal-making capability from the next person. So ClientLook has a property module, which we're going to jump to next. But here's kind of the payoff for having properties in ClientLook, is that when I pull up a person and I go to their properties tab, I can see the properties that they're related to. So in this case, Jessica is related to 3 different properties. And if you look at the very last column over there, relationship, it shows you that they're, Red Cloud is a tenant of this property, and the lease expiration of January 31st of 2022. They're a prospect of another one and a tenant of another one. So you can relate people and properties together, and you can define one or multiple relationships between that person, that company, and the property. They could be a tenant or an owner, or an investor, or a prospect, or any sort of relationship you come up with, because it's all customizable. But the goal is this: given that maybe once or twice a year you will have a conversation with Jessica Anderson, you want to sound like an expert during that very limited window of communication. This properties tab helps you do that, because you will sound like an expert. Oh, I know you own these 3 properties, or you lease space within these 3 sites or whatever, and this is the one of the ways that ClientLook is going to help you get some sort of assignment with that company. All right, so let me tell you now how if we want to relate a property to a person, I'll show you the quick simple example here. So you see that relate a property button there in the corner. I'm going to click that. So now I get this little interface that's going to ask me to type in the address of the property that I'm looking for. So let's say that Jessica, during our phone conversation, identified that she, I don't know, they leased or they bought or something, 123 Live Oak in Daytona Beach, Florida. And this is one of the properties I have in ClientLook. So I type in Live Oak, it finds the property, I select it. Now it's going to ask me simply, what is the relationship between Jessica and this property? So you see that choose relationship types field there sort of in the middle. So I tap that and it gives me a list. And there's a lot of standard things that come, you know, Jessica is the tenant of this building, or the owner or an investor or whatever. And you can complement and add whatever you want here. But in this case, I'm going to choose tenant. So when I do that, I get some special fields. And this is part of ClientLook's tenant tracking capability, which we introduced late last year. When you choose tenant as the relationship type between a person or company and a property, it's going to ask you, okay, so what is the suite, the floor, how much space they occupy, and the lease expiration. It's a little sort of mini tenant roster. And so when you do this, it helps you understand, okay, they're on the 12th floor, suite 1200, they occupy, you know, 14,000 square feet, and the lease comes up in, you know, the end of 2024. So that's valuable information for you here from this context perspective. But when I show you the property, you'll see why that's really valuable there as well. All right, so we enter some data, we click OK, and now we've added a new tenant property relationship between this person and a property. All right, this tab is for deals. We're going to talk all about how you track deals and collaborate with your clients and do these really cool reporting and organize deal, you know, activity for your own sake. But these are the two deals that Jessica Anderson is related to, so you can see that here. Now, marketing, we're also going to talk about. So one of the capabilities of ClientLook is with email marketing. And this is it's really simple, and we integrate with a tool called MailChimp, but here are the engagement stats for Jessica. She's been sent 15 campaigns. She has a 7% open rate, 7% click rate. So I'll touch on that more in a few minutes. And then finally, groups. So groups is a really simple feature, but very powerful. So over time, you're going to accumulate bigger and bigger and bigger lists of people, companies, properties, the whole thing. Groups helps you to segment those big lists into smaller, more manageable lists. And people can be a member of as many groups as you want. You come up with your own group. So in this case, you see Jessica is a member of 4 different groups. And the benefit is that I can go to my list of contacts and say, just show me the holiday card people, and boom, up comes that list. And since Jessica is a member of that group, she will be, she'll appear. Okay, let's touch on properties now. So we talked about contacts and the importance of contact tracking, all the benefits there. Let's talk about properties now, which is another key element of ClientLook capability. So this is the properties list, and you know, if you haven't seen ClientLook before, at least this should look familiar. This screen, this interface, the way that the data is organized is exactly like the contacts. It's exactly like the companies, exactly like the deals. Everything in ClientLook is made to look similar, so that if you master a couple of steps in one module, you've mastered that in every module. It's part of our, you know, kind of simple and intuitive design features. But so the big question here is, how do these properties get in this system? Most people have some list of properties in an Excel or another CRM that they're tracking, and we import those all the time. And you can import these yourself, but typically you'll send those to our support team, and they will import all that data for you. But one way or another, you now have this property module in ClientLook. This isn't every property in you know, my Southern California market here. These are the 500 buildings, the 1,000 properties, whatever, that I consider to be my territory, the ones that I want to become an expert in. Okay, so in the upper right corner, you see that Add a New Property button. You'll notice that you can manually add one. You can choose Add from Provider there. We do have an integration right now with BuildOut, where you can pull a property down for BuildOut if you've already added it over there. But let me go ahead and show you what a property record looks like. So we've jumped now down to the property detail page. Much like the contact, this is a property. You see the details of the property, both on the left side there with location and some improvement information. And if we scroll down here, you see more details, you know, size, square footage, you know, all kinds of stuff. There are literally hundreds of fields of data that you could fill out for a property. One of the things that ClientLook does in a very elegant way is it only displays fields that have data associated with them, so you don't have all this blank, empty data fields shown all over the place. But if you look over to the right, there is a list of some of the integrations that we have. RPR is a realtor tool, which is a really great means of creating analytics, demographic reports, trend analysis. So if you're a realtor, you can turn that on. And then the Analyst Pro down there, that's a lease analysis, risk analysis. So it's a really cool tool for deal making. That's a third-party tool that if you have a subscription to that, you can turn that on in ClientLook as well. So updates within properties are where you can start to key in unique notes, updates, news, whatever that might be related to this property and put it here. One thing to start to shift your thinking towards, especially with ClientLook, is how to start to digitize your business. Anything that you're keeping paper-wise, really start to think about how you can do that electronically, and things like this updates tab within a property go a long way towards that. These are activities that have been scheduled and related to a property, so that's part of what you can do in ClientLook, is kind of link stuff together. Now, availability is either the sale or the for lease opportunities that you have for this property. So ClientLook has a listings module, but it's not meant to replace a third-party listing service that you might have out there. You need to rely on those folks for their continued research efforts. This is your availability. So when you get a listing, you can plug it in here. So you can track when the listing starts, when it expires. If you're in a team, you know who's representing this listing, and you can track changes in price and all kinds of stuff. Files, this is all, again, kind of the digital strategy with ClientLook, where you keep both your files and all your images electronically stored within this property, so that, in the future, if you get an opportunity, an assignment of some sort, you can use this stuff to generate your output. Now, people are the contacts or the companies in ClientLook that you've related to this property. So we see the list of people there, contact name, company name. If they are a tenant, you'll see their tenant information. But basically, this is the flip side of I'm on a contacts record and I relate that contact to a property. When I do that, if I go to the property, I will see the people associated with that property here. So this is really where you want to build expertise over time, and the simple linking capability makes it easy. And you see that relate a contact button in the upper right corner. You just click that and you can relate any person you want to this property and choose any sort of relationship that you'd like to see. These are deals for a property, marketing campaigns we'll talk about, and again, groups just like contacts. We can group properties. Okay, so let's touch on that listings part of this a little bit. So for those of you who have listings, this is for you. So we created this listings module, again, not to circumvent any third-party services, listing research efforts, because you really can't duplicate those, but to give you a way to track your own listing data. We found, and we commonly heard from our subscribers who were keeping their listing data in a spreadsheet, or worse yet, just in like brochures that they pinned up to their cubicle. So this is a formalized way, very simple, easy way for you to track your listings over time, the status of the listings, and then you can understand, as you go through, like how many industrial listings did we have versus office, and what was the average price, and all kinds of things like that. So this is what a listing record looks like. You can track spaces. You're linking these listings back to a main property record again, because everything in ClientLook kind of ties together. These are the people internally that are responsible for that listing. The landlord reps or the tenant reps, deals, files, images, and then finally here, publish. So publish is something that's kind of new to ClientLook, in the sense that we have this growing list of companies that we're going to allow you to push your listing data out to. The first one, we've actually been doing this for a while, is with BuildOut. So for those of you who use BuildOut to create marketing materials, you can plug your listing into ClientLook, check that little box, and it sends everything that BuildOut needs to create your content. It sends it from ClientLook. So the goal is to reduce or eliminate any redundant data entry. You've put it into ClientLook already. Let's help you reuse that information in a variety of different places. All right, now let's talk about deals. So you've done all this canvassing with your contacts. You've built up these great relationships. You've developed an expertise with these properties that you're keeping in ClientLook. And now you've got a deal. And a deal in the ClientLook world is any sort of assignment. You've got a listing. You've got a tenant rep assignment. You are trying to find a property for someone to purchase. It's anything. It could be a consulting agreement, an appraisal, whatever. But when you click the deals module there at the top, you will see the list of deals appear. Okay, so the fundamental view here shows you the deal name, your client, and details related to your pipeline. So deals is also the way that you track your opportunities. What's the value of the deals that I'm working on? When do they close? What's the current stage? The goal is to help you keep your eye on the ball to understand, okay, these are the 3 deals that have the highest likelihood of closing in the next 6 months. Let's work on those as opposed to these, which are longer term or whatever. But you'll see all that information here. And so let's jump down into a specific deal and show you some of the benefits of this. So fundamentally, you look at this deal and you see, the address. In this case, it's a listing. Okay, so you see the address of the property and the client information. But the big thing in deals is the updates tab. So deals solves a really big problem in commercial real estate, which is that you do all kinds of activity all day long. You make phone calls, you send emails, you go on property tours, or you meet with clients, you do all this stuff. And it's the activity ranges. You're meeting with this client in the morning and this client late morning, this one in the afternoon, and you're doing all this different stuff for all kinds of different people. And even if you log all that stuff into a CRM, it's very difficult to corral all of that data, organize it based on the deal. How do you know what you did for 1629 Covington listing? How does your client know what you've done? So we've seen the gamut in the way that people try to organize this and try to report it to their clients, from just the ad hoc, hey, Mr. Client, I'm going to take you to lunch once a month and I'm going to tell you everything I've done, to a mad scramble on some periodic basis to accumulate stuff they can put into some report. ClientLook cures all of that trouble. And here's how it does it. So the deal record that you create becomes this repository in ClientLook into which you add anything you do. And it's simple, and I'm going to show you how you do that in our next little example here. But basically assume this. The updates tab that you see in this record here is filled with all of the updates. When I say updates, I mean the outcome of meetings or calls or even emails that are related to this deal. In ClientLook's big feature is that it makes it super easy for you to relate what you've done to one or more deals. The biggest thing that you're going to find that literally revolutionizes the way you work is with emails. So you'll notice in the middle of this record, there's this BCCR4 deal emails to and this long email address. So same sort of thing as before. You can click this add a vCard, email me a vCard link, and it will add a record into your Outlook, into your phone or whatever for 1629 Covington. So here's how this works. Think about every email that you send each day and think about how many of those emails correlate to some deal. And if you're like most people, it's most of those emails. So when you use ClientLook and you have a deal representing, your activity, when you email to Jessica Anderson something, you attach a file, an offer, a brochure, or whatever. Instead of BCCing your generic ClientLook email address, you BCC the deal. And here's what happens. It will email that to the recipient. It will connect it to the recipient's record, and it will connect it to the deal in ClientLook. So when I come to this deal, I see every email that I've sent, since I've created this deal that's related to, my activity. And it makes obsolete folders in Outlook, folders in Gmail, whatever you might use to track deal emails. That's gone because now every email that you ever send is going to be here as well as connected to the respective contacts. Activity is going to show you what's pending for this deal, in terms of I've got a showing, I'm going to go run a report, I'm going to send an email, we have an open house, whatever it might be, all that stuff is shown here. And then people let you do a couple things. This is where, basically you will connect your prospects to this deal. So that's always a big challenge too. I've spoken to all these people. I have 10,000 contacts in my account who are the actual short list of prospects for this deal. So you can relate a contact, click the relate a contact button, relate a person, a company, whatever, to this deal as a prospect. Okay, so that's what you'll do. You'll see, in the relationship type, there are lots of prospects. The other thing that you can do is you can relate your clients to this deal, label them as a client, and check a little box that enables them to have login access to this deal. So that might sound kind of crazy, like, what would I want? Why would I want my client to log into my CRM? Well, here's how it works. When you enable me, as an example, as a client, to have access to this deal, I can then, at my convenience, log in whatever I want to ClientLook, and I can see just this deal. And further, I'm limited to seeing just the updates within this deal that you have explicitly said, give my clients access to this. So your deal becomes this combination of updates and activities and files and emails, and then some of those, a subset, are shared with your client. So this serves as your marketing capability. You can still generate a report if you want to out of this to hand to your client or email to them if you want to demonstrate your activity. But the more tech savvy clients will log in to see what's going on. In the least, you can use this to win assignments because it's so differentiating. Rather than saying to your client, hey, I'm one of these guys who's going to send you a monthly report. You can call me anytime that you want to get an update on your deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and say, look, we are a totally transparent operation. We're working hard for you every day. You can log in whenever you want and see what we're doing. And they can even add comments and pose questions and download files and do all kinds of really cool stuff. But the point is, this doesn't require any additional work on your part. All you have to do is use ClientLook, and this deal, client collaboration piece is sort of free. It's an extension of the work that you're already doing. Okay, marketing campaigns, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. These are the campaigns that we sent for this deal. And of course, we could group these deals that we have big list of groups into some smaller subsets. But all right, now let's touch on those activities that we've been talking so much about. So now, here's my contact list. I'm going to jump down to a context record. I want to add an update for George, and I want to connect it to some more stuff. So this is one of the really key differentiating features in ClientLook that's totally unique. So you'll see there, add an update for George Adams in the middle of the screen. So most of the time I could just type a little sentence in there. I spoke to George about the deal and whatever. Click add this update, and I'm done. If I choose in the bottom left corner of that little pop-up, though, the Show Update Options link, it will extend this little page to allow me to do more stuff. So you'll see kind of near the bottom it says Related Contacts, Related Deals, and then over on the right side, Related Account Users, Related Properties. This allows me to link this update to other users in my account. So let's say Chuck and I are co-brokering this. We both went to this meeting, so we should both be included on this update. When I went and met with George, I also met with his, facilities director, so I need to include that person. We talked about one or more deals. This was in regards to one or more properties. If whatever CRM system you use does not do this, then it's creating significantly more work for you because you need to be able to enter something once and have it connected to all of the other pieces of the puzzle. So if I go to the deal, if I go to the property, I go anywhere, I can see this update. So let me give you an example here. I'll just fill in some content. I'm going to, add an update there at the top. I'm going to relate it to 1629 Covington, save it, and away I go. Okay. Let me show you here just a brief little view of the calendar. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but when you schedule things, you schedule meetings, when you schedule tasks, they all roll up under the activities module. So this is where you come to see your events, which are activities that have a time associated with them. I'm going to meet with Chris for lunch at 12:30. That's an event. A task is I need to call Bob on the 23rd. Not at any particular time, but I need to call him on that date. So you'll see all of that stuff rolled up here. And there's all kinds of ways to filter it and even print it if you want to. And then let me tell you about Scoop. So now I've clicked in the upper left corner there, this Scoop module. So most of you, I'm going to assume, are familiar with things like Facebook and LinkedIn and the value of those systems being that you can go to, you know, a Facebook or a Twitter and you see this feed of information. So the job of those tools is to aggregate updates that occur in all of your connected friends or companies or whatever, and put them into one cohesive list. So you don't have to jump from record to record to record to record to see what's going on with people. You just look at the feed. Well, ClientLook has adopted that same approach with respect to the activity that you and other team members generate within ClientLook. So when you go to Scoop, you see this list of things that you've done, every email that you've sent or received, every call you've logged, every meeting event that you've completed. It's all here. And this is especially valuable if you're in a team environment because I can see what other people have done and not only me. Now, all of this is subject to privacy features that we've built into ClientLook. So I can create an update or an email or something and only make sure that it's only viewable by me if I'm in a team environment. Or I can share it with another team member or whatever. But the point is you can come in here and quickly understand what you've done. You can use the little menus up at the top to say, okay, show me what my entire team has done. So this has transformed many companies' method of communication in that previously companies had to meet to talk about what was going on collectively, or they were sending all these emails around, or they were running reports or whatever. This is the modern way of communicating the activity within a team or a company, or even for your own sake. And you can add comments to any of this stuff, so it's all kind of threaded, and it's a whole new way to understand what's happening in your business without the traditional inefficient ways of connecting and communicating. And one of the really cool things is that it's all searchable. So I can type in some keyword term here in the keyword section, and basically rifle through every update email. I mean, in our use, we have tens of thousands of these, in our account. I can type in some keyword term, and it will find it. It'll go through all the emails that I've ever sent, and so that's a really great way to mine your database for new opportunities. All right, let's touch on marketing, and then I'm going to wrap up with a view of our mobile app here. So one of the things that's really important within your business is the ability for you to send email marketing. And what we discovered a long time ago was that there was a big disconnect in the sense that most people used their CRM to track their lists. These were all the people that that are my clients. And I've created groups to track, my West Side clients or my South Side owners or whatever. And that data, didn't make its way very well into your email system, where you had another list of contacts and companies and, that sort of thing. So we created this integration between ClientLook and MailChimp. If you're not familiar with MailChimp, it's a leading email system. It's the first email integration platform that we chose. It had a great API, and there's a free platform that a lot of our users were using. So I'll show you how this works in that context. But so here's the idea. You're in ClientLook and you do some targeted search. I want owners of industrial properties over 50,000 square feet on the West Side. Boom. Up comes my list. Now I want to send them an email. So in the context list, I choose the options menu and I select Send MailChimp Email, and up comes this little pop-up. This shows me the templates that I've created in MailChimp. So I would have had to have created this, flyer or brochure or whatever in that system. So my requirement at this point is just to choose a template. So I click on one. Then I'm presented with this screen that asks me, okay, what's the subject of your email? Who do you want to say it's from? These are all parameters in, the email that goes out. And I can relate it to deals, connect it to properties, again, which is that critical feature, being able to stitch stuff together. And I complete all this. In the bottom right corner, I choose, send options. Do I want to send this now? Do I want to schedule it to go out tomorrow? I make my selection and boom, out it goes. So MailChimp delivers those emails. And if you're like most commercial real estate professionals, that's kind of the end of your understanding of what's happened. In other words, you kind of shotgun these emails out, and then you hope for replies. Someone's going to reply to my email, someone's going to call me, but there's little understanding of the engagement that some people may have had with your email that leads them to be better prospects. Because some people, you will find, will have opened that email 10 times. Boy, that person is probably more likely to be interested in your opportunity and more willing to take your call than somebody who didn't open it. But how do you know that? So what ClientLook does is it creates these marketing campaigns for everything that you send out. And you see those here. If I tap on one, I get the list of people that I sent the email to, as well as those people that clicked a link or opened the email or didn't open or unsubscribed or whatever. Now I have visibility of that in here. And so one of the interesting things is I can pull up a person here. So let's go back to Jessica Allman's record. So now I'm on a person's record. And now that you understand how these emails were sent, this stuff makes a little more sense. So now when I pull up Jessica and I go to a marketing tab, I can say, she is opening emails about, multifamily investment on the west side, but she's not touching, these emails about something else. And the hope is that the email engagement stats that we're able to show you here help you to better understand in that, again, that 5-minute conversation, the profile of this person and what they may be interested in. And the main thing is that you're sending emails to these people. If you're not taking advantage of the intelligence that those emails are generating, then you're missing out. And that's what ClientLook is trying to do with this integration. Okay, so let me finish up here with the ClientLook mobile app. So let me preface this by saying ClientLook has always been mobilely accessible. You can access ClientLook through any browser, through any tablet, again, wherever you are. So our entire site is mobile accessible, which we designed that way from the start, which is a unique thing. Late last year, we endeavored into our first native app, which was for the iPhone, and we created an app that you find in the App Store, and you download, and it's been very, very well received. So this is some examples of that, and it's basically your entire business in your pocket. It's got every contact, every deal, every property, everything that you can understand in the web app. You can understand here in the mobile app. Some of the benefits of this are it's, number one, super fast. So it's really highly optimized for performance. And the hope is that, before you go in and see Catherine Anderson in the meeting, you can pop around on her record and understand, what did you talk about last? What future things do you have scheduled? What is she related to? She's a little related button there. So you understand the deals or the properties or whatever. What has she looked at in the past, property-wise? And we even got email statistics. If you're sending email to her, you'll understand what she's engaged with. So this is an example of a property record and your calendar. And Scoop. So Scoop is really powerful on the road. So you're flipping through activity that you've done, things that you need to follow up with, or things that your team members have done. It's all here in Scoop. Okay, so this is my last slide, and then we'll get to any questions that might have come up. But here is the Scoop on the special Coldwell Banker Commercial pricing. So we basically have 3 options for you. So the first one I'll tell you, which is free, is available to anybody that's new to the business. So what does that mean, new to the business? If you are someone who has 6 months or less experience as a commercial real estate professional, you're new. Not new to ClientLook, not new to Coldwell Banker Commercial, but you came from the insurance industry and you're a new broker, we want to help you. So we will give you ClientLook free for 6 months And then after 6 months, we even give you a discounted rate for your continued subscription, because we've all been where you are, which is, you know, a struggling new broker. You don't have a lot of funds. You need a CRM. And we want to be the company that helps, you know, seed the success of future generations. So that's what that option is. $69 a month is an annual subscription. You pay upfront for a year. The rate is $69 per month. Month to month, you can pay $76 a month. If you just want to go month to month, there's no term. You can cancel at any time. And just to give you a point of comparison, the stock rate that everybody else pays on our website is $89 a month. So you can appreciate the discounts here. The next step for anybody who is not a subscriber is there's two options. Number one, over on the left there, you can sign up for a free trial. Everything I've shown you here, you can do in ClientLook, including upload your contacts, start sending emails, do everything through a free 21-day trial. You can put your entire team, your entire company in a trial. It doesn't matter. And along the way, we help you understand all the features to, you know, within that 21-day period, help you understand, is ClientLook right for you? Secondly, you can also, or either, schedule a personalized demo. You say, look, you know, my company gets together, you know, once a week, once a month. We want a demonstration of your system at our sales meeting, or you're just an individual user and you want to understand how ClientLook can work for your business. Send an email to sales@clientlook.com, request a demo. They do these all day long for all kinds of people and teams and companies. So we're happy to help, you know, kind of cut to the chase and tell you exactly what ClientLook can do for your particular business. All right. Well, Chuck, with all that said, are there any questions that you think I should be answering?
Yes. We had some things that came in consistently from several people. First of all, how much does that virtual assistant cost?
Oh, so it's a good question. So the virtual assistant is free. The virtual assistant is something that we build into our ClientLook subscription rate, so your access to those people is unlimited and is free. Now there are limitations in the sense that, you know, we've had people literally send us like the phone book for their, you know, local market and say, enter these thousands of names in the ClientLook. They can't do stuff like that. But any reasonable request is never rejected. So basically assume that it's free.
Excellent. Is there a limit to the amount of storage space that I get with my ClientLook account?
No, there's nothing about ClientLook that's metered. Number of contacts, amount of storage, number of emails, nothing. So I would encourage you to put anything and everything up here, because it's a safe place for you to have this information long term, and you know, don't ever worry about, you know, hitting some limit.
All right. Is there an additional charge for our clients to access the online deal war room?
No. So all the client collaboration capabilities I was talking about is free for your clients. They actually, when you check this little box that says, "Hey, Chuck could get access to my deal," Chuck will get an email with instructions about how to log into ClientLook. Their access is free. They can even use our mobile app, the ClientLook mobile app, and they can engage with ClientLook that way at no cost. I mean, you're basically sort of sponsoring them as part of your subscription.
Excellent. And I guess the last thing is, on a side note, is you might want to explain how they get that special subscription rate, because the sign-up page on our website only has the normal $89 a month rate.
Right. So for Coldwell Banker Commercial folks, you know, going to our website and going to our sign-up page won't give you access to that special rate. So just send an email to sales or call us. You'll see our phone number on our website, and we'll send you the link that allows you to access that Coldwell Banker Commercial page, because we don't make that publicly available, and we'll make sure that you get that rate. If for some reason you've signed up at the higher rate, you know, we can adjust that if you've done that this month or something.
Excellent. And that's it. Everything else we answered personally.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We're going to send out a recording of this webinar to everyone, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks, and have a great day.